Don't believe that us in the district can snap our fingers and make young adult ministry work in churches. That's up to you guys. It really is up to you guys. Because you're the ones with the families on the ground with those communities. And so that's actually my question for you. So what we have to help you with that, we've developed 7 guiding principles for effective young adult ministry. We've borrowed Grow Ministry. If you've been to a Grow Ministry conference, which I encourage you to do, because we've seen how important this faith at home stuff is, and they look at children's and youth ministry and young adult stuff. They have like a whole bunch of principles. We have 7 because it's holy. I don't know. 7 guiding principles for effective young adult ministry. So these are some areas that we believe if your community, your church can focus on all of these areas, that'd be fantastic. If you can focus on 3 of them, that'd be great. So what they are is worship that connects. Youth and young adults desire to be involved in worship practices that communicate timeless truth in a relevant way, while helping them understand the significance of the elements of lutheran liturgy for their everyday life. So it's all about helping worship connect with their life. Yeah. Don't just assume they know it. Now there's 2 responses we can say. Let's just kind of throw out the liturgy and just do song, sermon, sandwich. You can do that, sure. I don't think that's the answer. The other response is if we just teach young adults what the liturgy means and how deep and significant and amazing it is, then they'll just fall in love with it. I don't think that's right either. I think that helps. I don't think that is going to really do it either. So it's, for me, I know the depth and significance of our Lutheran liturgy, and I really appreciate parts of it, and other parts I go why. It doesn't connect. We need to really think smart about how we can involve people and help what we do connect with them on a deep and significant way.
Has anyone come up with a successful formula where the oldies, who are very large, over 70s, a large portion of the church, mostly with hearing aids, are driven nuts by the rock music at the modern services? And the younger people, whose eyes glaze over and they sort of collapse when anybody starts up an organ with a traditional hymn. Where is how do you fix this?
Yeah.
So both parties are happy with what's happening.
I think the key is not. I don't think you can find something that everyone's going to love, all of it. I think the key is creating a language and a culture of respecting and honouring each other. And so, I believe that kind of blended worship can work. If we have an understanding that I'm here to honour you. It's not about what I want. I'm going to honour you, and you're going to honour me. And we're going to honour each other's way of connecting with God, and we're going to smash those 2 together. And there's going to be bits that I'm not going to connect with, but I understand that you are, and that's important for you, so I'm going to respect that. And there's bits that you might not appreciate, but you know that I connect with that, and you're going to honour and respect that as well. And if we can have this kind of, there's this tension of that's what our community is about today. It's not about me getting what I want, it's about how can I lift you up and help you get what you need. If we can develop that culture in our churches, I think that's a big step in the right direction. Honouring and respecting each other. One place that I think is doing this really well, I might say this because I just work there, is Emmanuel. They intentionally shut down their youth service into a morning service where they mix both together, and we have like a band that does a big song, and then the organ cranks up for a song, and we all sing this beautiful old hymn, and then the band and sometimes Matt will just kind of ad-lib before communion, and sometimes he'll sing the whole kind of liturgy for communion, and they just kind of mix together, and I think it's working really well.
No, I don't believe that having 2 separate congregations,
No,
with a twain shall meet, I don't think that works.
I don't believe that works either.
I think they need to be working
Yeah.
together.
I think you can have those if you see it as a gather, the peer group, because we need to have the peer group gathering, But if it's separate from this, doesn't mean we can't have those separate services, but if it's a separate congregation, I don't think that's healthy for the long-term life. Because what happens is the people here get used to doing it their way, the youth, and the people here get used to doing it their way as well. So actually in the long term, the old people haven't learned to put up with the noise of the young people, and the young people haven't learned to respect what the old people do.
How do they fit the liturgy into that arrangement? Is it, it's not, would it be the old liturgy, or would it be, that would be blended too?
No, it's not a full liturgy, no.
No, so they would, they have the old and the new, they have a,
what Matt would say is that he doesn't do the liturgy word for word, but he represents all the aspects of the liturgy in different parts of the service.
Yeah.
Whether that's through a song or whether it's something that he shares or that kind of stuff. But it's more for a young adult, it's more authentic because it comes from his heart, not just like he's reading out of a book.
Yeah.
Communicates the same truth, but communicated differently.
There's one thing I pick up from this is that if our goal is to try to get everybody into one room at the same time and worshipping together, then I think we need to wait for eternity for that one.
Yeah.
And there's a whole lot of other stuff that really you have to concentrate on, and that's where the measure will come.
I think also you've got to understand that for young adults, the heart of our community isn't the worship that we do together, it's the relationships and the conversations that we have together. Yeah, so that's what they're more interested in this than they are in the worship. And before we did this research, I probably wouldn't have said that as much. But this is what it's showing us, is that what they want is that those connections, and if there's people there that love them, that they'll, what we do, what style we have when we gather, is not as important as the connections we have when we gather. But I think it's still important. You can't just say, woohoo, let's just keep going on that train. We've got to look at it all. We've got to look at it holistically. Faith at home. Faith at home practices are the centre of children and youth ministry that produces long-term impact on faith outcomes. That's really clear from today. Intergenerational. Youth and young adults thrive in faith where intergenerational relationships exist with caring adults who can speak into and nurture their lives through mutual empathy and care. We're going to really encourage our generations to mix and help the older to understand that young people aren't scary and they're not scared of you and don't want you to go away. They actually want you to care for them and invest in their life.
Tom,
Yeah?
relationship sexist. That's one word.
Oh, it's because I've zoomed in. Sorry if I...
No, it's just what it is.
Okay.
There we go, that's good. When I do the zoom on the page, it does weird things. Sorry. Peer community. Young adults who feel they belong to a group of peers for the purpose of growing together in friendship and faith are more likely to remain involved in a faith community. Discipleship, young people who engage in the Bible. What is it, the Bible? Basics of the faith and spiritual disciplines. That's what the youth group stuff we looked at. In ways that connect with their everyday experience will be equipped to grow in their own faith as they move forward into adult life. You don't have to write this down, I've got a handout. I do have a handout for this. It's okay, it's that cognitive,
Remember
it's getting in your brain. Keep going. Transitional support. Young people desire to be supported and celebrated through the spiritual and personal struggles they face in a time of transition, particularly when moving to a new location. And the last one, I think this is actually really, really important, saying that more so than in previous generations, apologetics. Young people who possess a framework for how to approach various life and social issues through the lens of their faith are more likely to understand and defend their faith in the context of popular Australian culture and the opinions of friends and the media. Apologetics, for those who don't know what apologetics is, it's basically defending the faith. We need to be equipping, we need to realise that our young adults now live in a culture that's hostile to their faith, and we need to be equipping them well to be able to stand strong with their faith in this culture. I think that's a new challenge for us that I think we really need to take seriously. So, I'm going to hand these out on your table so you can read it all at once. If you need to move, I would encourage you to move to get into groupings of your faith community, and you have an hour. That's it, ever. And there's no more time, ever. You can stick around as long as you need. I encourage you to spend time...
Until 3 o'clock.
Until 3 o'clock. Thinking about What are the big challenges for our community? What are the ones that we're doing well in? What do we need to tweak? What are the areas that are good first steps for us, that are easy first steps, the areas that, oh yeah, we can quite easily do this here. Maybe this one's going to be really challenging for us to do. I want you to identify at least 3 of these that you can work on over the next coming months and talk about some strategies of how you are going to start having conversations and implementing changes within your community to better minister to the needs of the young adults that are in your community or are yet to be in your community. Any questions? Wonderful.